The Velcaran warfleet descended upon the human colony of New Eden, with the confidence of predators approaching defenseless prey. Commander Zethrak's mandibles clicked in satisfaction, as his sensors painted a picture of vast agricultural fields, simple settlements, and no military installations whatsoever. A farming colony, his tactical officer reported. Population approximately 50,000. No orbital defenses detected. No warships in system. Zethrak's three eyes gleamed. The Velcaran Dominion had swept through 7 star systems in their expansion, and this isolated human outpost would fall within hours. Perhaps, he mused, they wouldn't even resist. He was wrong. On New Eden's surface, Jasmine wiped the dirt from her hands and squinted at the sky. The descending ships were unmistakable, sleek, predatory, and absolutely hostile. She reached for the communicator on her belt. "Harry, we've got company." 5 kilometers away in what appeared to be a grain processing facility, Harry looked up from his console and grinned. "Already? Intel said we had another week." "Intel was wrong," Jasmine replied, her voice calm despite the approaching invasion force. "Initiate harvest protocol. Let's show them what human farmers really grow." Harry's fingers flew across the controls. "With pleasure. All units, this is Shepard Actual. The crop is ripe. Begin harvesting operations." Across New Eden, the farming equipment began to transform. Commander Zethrak watched in confusion as the first wave of his drop pods landed near what his scouts had identified as irrigation systems. His soldiers emerged, weapons ready, expecting terrified colonists. Instead, they found themselves facing massive cylindrical structures that suddenly pivoted on hidden mechanisms. "What are those?" The transmission cut off as the irrigation systems revealed themselves to be railgun batteries, buried beneath harmless-looking panels. Electromagnetic fury tore through the Velcaran ranks, turning their advanced armor into molten slag. "Impossible," Zethrak roared. "How did we miss military installations of this magnitude?" His science officer's voice trembled. "Commander, those structures, they're registering agricultural chemical signatures. They're literally built into the farming infrastructure." Jasmine stood atop what had been called the Crop Monitoring Station Alpha, now revealed as a tactical command center. Holographic displays surrounded her, showing the battlefield in real time. She touched her earpiece. "Harry, how are the automatons performing?" "Like a dream," Harry responded from his position in the grain facility, now clearly a massive mechanized warfare production plant. "The Velcorans think they're fighting farmers. They have no idea they're up against humanity's agricultural military complex." What the Velcaran fleet had mistaken for harvesting machines began rolling across the fields. These weren't tractors. They were mobile weapon platforms disguised as farm equipment. Each harvester carried enough firepower to level a city block, with armor plating concealed beneath cosmetic panels designed to look like simple agricultural machinery. The Velcaran ground forces found themselves in a nightmare. The gentle rolling hills of New Eden transformed into a 3-dimensional battlefield as grain silos opened to reveal missile batteries. Greenhouses slid aside to expose mech deployment bays, and the livestock pens released swarms of combat drones. Commander Zethrak watched his forces being systematically destroyed. "Retreat. All units fall back to the ships." But Harry had anticipated this. "Jasmine, they're running. Should we let them?" "Negative," Jasmine replied, her eyes cold and calculating. "Activate the scarecrows." High above New Eden's atmosphere, what the Velcaran sensors had identified as communications satellites suddenly came to life. They weren't satellites at all. They were autonomous weapons platforms positioned months ago and left dormant, their aggressive systems masked by civilian broadcast signals. The scarecrows lit up the void with precise, devastating fire. Velcaran ships designed for orbital bombardment and troop deployment found themselves outgunned by what they had dismissed as primitive human infrastructure. Commander Zethrak's flagship shuddered under the impact. How did we not detect any of this?" His science officer finally understood. "Commander, the humans, they didn't hide their military behind their agriculture. They integrated it completely. Every farm, every field, every structure serves a dual purpose. The chemical signatures we detected, they're real farming operations. But every tractor can become a tank. Every barn can deploy troops. Every irrigation system can fire projectiles." On the surface, Jasmine watched the Velcaran retreat accelerate into a full rout. Harry's voice crackled in her ear. "Should we pursue?" "No," she decided. "Let a few escape. Let them tell their empire what happens when you underestimate human farmers. As the surviving Velcoran ships limped away at maximum velocity, Jasmine surveyed New Eden. Already the weapon systems were retracting, the combat platforms returning to their agricultural disguises. By morning, New Eden would look like a simple farming colony again, growing wheat, raising livestock, and cultivating the most dangerous crop in the galaxy: human ingenuity. Harry joined her on the observation deck, his hands still dirty from the day's work. You know they'll come back with more ships? Let them, Jasmine smiled grimly. By then we'll have expanded the fields, maybe plant some new orchards. The Velcorans will love our apples, each one with enough explosive yield to crack a battleship's hull. That's why I love human agriculture. Harry laughed. We learned long ago, never waste space. If you're going to grow something, make sure it can feed you or defend you, preferably both. Across the galaxy, the Velcoran Dominion would soon learn a valuable lesson. Humanity didn't separate its civilians from its military. Every colony was a fortress. Every farmer was a soldier. Every field was a battlefield waiting to happen. They had thought New Eden was just a farming colony. They had been catastrophically, fatally wrong. Humans didn't just harvest crops. They harvested victories, cultivated strategies, and grew the most terrifying military doctrine the galaxy had ever seen: total integration. And when the harvest came, no enemy was safe from humanity's deadly agriculture. Commander Zethrock's final report to the Dominion High Command consisted of 3 words that would echo through Velcoran history: avoid human farms,